Good morning, YouTube. Just wanted to record a really quick intro here. So attached, you're going to see our deportation story. Please be nice. Please, no judgments. If you have something mean to say or you're very opinionated on something, keep it to yourself. We're putting ourselves out there and kind of being transparent as to what we experienced and what we went through. And we would like that people just respect that. We're just sharing our journey. Along with that, please, if you have questions and you're going through something similar, you want to know something, I know that I had a ton of questions right before we went through all of this. And there really wasn't anywhere to look. There wasn't anyone out there maybe there was stuff, but I just didn't find it at the time. So, please feel free to ask questions. Just right down below in the comments down here. Ask away. Ask questions. My husband will answer questions. I'll answer questions. English, Spanish, however you want to do it. We will happily answer those for you. So I hope you enjoy and keep watching. And don't forget to like and subscribe.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, hi, my name's Heather.
My name is Ernesto.
And welcome back to our channel. So today we wanted to kind of go a little bit deeper and go into our deportation story and kind of cover what happened to us and our experience of the deportation. Hopefully this maybe helps somebody out that, if you're experiencing the same thing, that you kind of have some ideas, or the feelings, or what you're going to experience during this time. And
exactly.
it's definitely not a fun thing to go through.
After you live like 30 years in the U.S., it's kind of like
complete
change everything. Like nothing. It's not. You don't feel like basically. I don't know. It's crazy, but
everything's foreign.
Yeah,
everything's
crazy.
You don't even know what to do. So, I wanted to cover the myth that everyone just automatically assumes that you're married, and we're a couple. I'm a U.S. citizen, so it shouldn't be any big deal that he should be able to get his citizenship too. When he got deported, we were going through immigration process of stuff. We had already started the process of approval for an I-130 for him. Started doing everything, but because of other things that had happened, it kind of just made it difficult that we have to go through a lot more hoops to get to where we want to be. So it's not an open and shut, easy peasy. There are people that have that luck of having that easy immigration case. There's the people that, you guys watch the show 90 Day Fiance. They apply for their K-1 visa. They meet somebody on the internet, apply for their K-1 visa, and then all of a sudden they're in the U.S., they're getting married, and now they're citizens. Super easy. But not every case is that way, and ours definitely is that way. We'll cover later on how we actually met. And our story of us getting together and how, getting married and all of that. But this is really our story of just our deportation. I'm going to let my husband talk about a little bit the day that he found out that he was being deported. At this point in time, we've already been in the immigration system. He actually was moved and locked up in an ICE detention center. Right, so that morning that you got deported, what happened?
Well, actually, I wake up and then just call my name, and it was like from a couple guys again with that same day. They just tell us like, hey, you guys gonna get sent back to Mexico, and then I was shocked because I didn't even know anything, I didn't have anything with me, like no drivers, I got nothing, completely, no papers.
They basically at that point in time, so we were in an asylum case at that point. he had been moved from one place to another. When they moved him, basically they gave me all of his stuff. So I was given his clothes, I was given his cell phone, I was given his wallet, his ID, his passport. So basically all of his items were at home.
Yeah, I didn't have anything. Like we just put us on a plane, and then they
So
take us to.
how did they take you guys out? They took you to where?
They put us in the little, like in the big bus, and
In a
they
big
put
bus.
in a big, like it was a huge plane, like a lot of people in there. So they take us to Laredo, Texas, and then
So they flew you from where? You don't even know where the airport was.
I didn't even know I didn't even know. It was like, but it was.
And then you landed in Laredo, Texas.
Yes.
And then what happened?
They take us in another bus, and they take us to the bridge, and then
And the
after
bridge is in
bridge to
Laredo
cross-
as well?
yeah, to cross back to Laredo, Mexico,
And you crossed from Laredo, Texas to where?
to the bridge to Mexico, basically.
But what city, babe?
That was Laredo, Mexico.
It's the same name?
It's the same name. The only
I
one
didn't know.
Texas
I'm
and Mexico.
clueless. So it's the same. You went to Laredo, Mexico.
Right. So they put us on the bridge, and then I didn't even know where we going. I was like,
So how do you
man,
feel?
I was very scared. I mean, because after to live like 30 years in the U.S. and
You don't even know what you're
I didn't
walking
even
back
know what
into.
we're walking to, yeah. And they take us to. I was a little place that I guess it was a government, because they give us a paper with your name on it, and after that I said, you know what, we didn't even know where we're going, so I just follow the other couple of people. They just looking for some places to sleep, because it was already.
So you followed other people.
Right. and not
Why
just
did you
that,
follow the other guys?
because
You had no
I
clue.
had no clue, no idea, I didn't have anything with me. Like I said, no
money,
no money,
no debit card,
no wallet,
no bank card,
nothing,
no
like,
ID,
exactly,
no phone.
And then it was the government say, look, you guys got to stay together, because the police or any other people, they can pick you up and they take you. They're gonna. Man, it's a really bad in Laredo. So, but we went to the shelter and it was sleep.
Okay, so on my side, the day that he was deported, it just kind of the craziest. You kind of wonder if ICE or anybody's listening in on your calls, because the day that he was deported was exactly the same day that I literally got on a plane and flew to Arizona for a business conference for work. So the time that he was being taken, getting onto a bus, getting onto a plane, and starting his journey, I literally was already flying from Ohio to Arizona. And when I landed, I didn't even really turn on my phone right away, because normally I would turn on my phone and I would touch base with him, if I'm traveling for work, like, hey, I just landed, I'm okay. Once I get settled at the hotel, and this is kind of typically what we do, right? Like
Right.
once I'm settled at the hotel, I'll give you a call, we'll touch base, and I'll let you know how everything is. But yeah, I didn't turn on my phone because he was in custody. I couldn't call him. I had to wait for his calls. So I didn't turn on my phone right away. By the time I landed, and I actually did turn on my phone, I was on a bus with all of my other people from work, and there was like 30 or 40 of us, 50 of us on a couple of buses. I was on a bus, I turned on my phone, and there was a voicemail. I didn't really check it right away, but as we're pulling into the hotel, I'm like, okay, it's not as noisy now, like everyone's getting off the bus. Let me check my voicemail really fast. I checked my voicemail, and there's a message from somebody that I didn't really understand him, but he was saying something about my husband. And then literally not even a minute or two later, my phone rang again. And it was basically somebody who did you have call me? Somebody that you knew?
No, it was like it was a guy that I met inside too. It was some.
So I don't even know how he got my number or anything. Did you give it to him?
Yeah, but I told him that I need a favor.
Like call my wife?
Because I didn't have anything. Like
Yeah, so I don't even know.
$1 peso. I didn't even know that.
This strange guy that he was locked up with in the ICE detention. Just completely strange person called me and said, I'm sorry I have to call you like this, but I'm calling to let you know, and you don't know me, but I'm calling to let you know that they took your husband this morning. And I couldn't comprehend what he was saying. What do you mean they took my husband? And he said, well, they put him on a plane this morning. And here I am just getting to Arizona, just getting off of a plane myself. I'm on a bus. At that point, I couldn't even, like, who do I even talk to? Who do I even say anything to? At that point, I had already told my boss the situation I was in. Keep in mind that the time that my husband was taken into custody was January. So we're already talking May at this point in time. So it's already been
About
five months, almost 6 months when he was in custody. So at this point, I've already told my boss, because we're already starting to think like, okay, what if kind of plans. I'm a planner. I have to have things planned out. I have to have some idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
I'm kind of like that with everything. So I make my husband crazy because of that. Am I not correct?
Yeah.
I make him completely crazy because I always have to plan everything. So we already had a plan in place. With my job, I knew that I could transfer to the San Diego market. I knew that I automatically had a job to go to. I knew that I automatically had some income. And being that my husband was from Acapulco area, we didn't want to be in the area. We had heard so much about how dangerous it was, and just trying to think of how we were going to work and support ourselves. We just chose to choose the border life, or I chose, because he didn't really have a say in the matter again. I chose that we were going to do the border life because I still had a job. I could still make the same money I was making. And I knew that with that, we could make it through our time. He has a ban that we can't even though we're married and even though we're legally approved for our I-130 that we have a valid marriage, he cannot reapply for citizenship until after the ban is over.
Right.
So at this point in time, we just sit and wait. So I knew that at least we could pass that time frame of that ban, still be together, still be able to maintain our relationship. But I would have to cross to work every day. And I've been doing that for 6 years now, of crossing the border to work every day. So I chose the border and knew that we were going to head to Rosarito because of that, just to make it easier. So literally going back, anyhow, I had already told my boss. I had already made the plans that if it happened and if we had to move to Mexico, that we were going to be in the Baja California area. And I was thinking somewhere Rosarito. I'd heard that between Tijuana and going south to Rosarito that there were some really nice developments. There were some nice places to live. You know, in my mind, I'm thinking it's beach life. It's a little bit more tourism. It's not as, it's just a completely different, you know, we've traveled to different places in Mexico, and it's different of living in a little puebla, right?
Yeah.
Than a pueblo, than here, correct?
Right,
I
yes.
mean, completely different. When it comes to like education for the children, there's a ton of bilingual schools here. It's just a completely different area. So, yeah, so we decided that was where we're going to be. So my boss already knew. So I just basically at that point in time sat and waited. Didn't say anything to anyone. Waited until I knew for sure and got a phone call. So that day, probably about 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock at night, I got a phone call from my husband telling me that he was in a shelter, right?
Yes.
And they had let you make a phone call.
They let me make a phone calls, yes. That's
So-
when I call you and they let you know that. Well, I mean, I don't have anything, and I was like, just worried, you know, because I grew up most of my life over there, but
In the U.S.
yeah, So
yeah, I mean, it definitely was hard. So I mean, at this point, he's at a shelter in Laredo, right?
what is it?
What city?
Oh, it was in. It was right there by Laredo, Texas, Laredo,
Okay.
Mexico. Yeah.
So he's in a shelter there. I am in Arizona. We lived in Ohio at that point. So he has nothing. No money, no nothing. I can't send money to him. So thank God for my brother. Because I can't leave my conference at work. I'm at a work conference. I can't just get up and get on a plane. So my brother's absolutely amazing. He and I are so close. My brother and my husband are super close as well, right?
Yes.
So my brother literally sorry, paused it for a second.
It's okay. Yes. It's okay. It's already passed. You know.
I know.
It's already passed, and then we already went through it. Like.
Okay. So my
Yeah.
brother's so amazing. He dropped everything, right?
Yeah.
He literally took vacation time,
That's okay.
got on a plane. I know. He took vacation time, and thank God for my sister-in-law as well, because she let him do it. I mean, she let him just drop everything, and he got on a plane.
Yeah.
I literally, from Arizona, had to call my mom. And, I mean, obviously my parents knew the whole situation. My mom, over the phone, packed all of your belongings, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I literally had to say, okay, like, go to this drawer, and you're going to find his cell phone. Make sure you grab a charger. Over here in this drawer, grab his underwear. Over here in this drawer, grab his socks. Pack these shoes. Like, we couldn't send everything with my brother, but at least we could get you the basic necessities
basic stuff
of what
that I
you
really
needed, right? So that's exactly what we did. And my mom packed everything. And I mean, my family's super close, right?
Yes, absolutely.
So my mom packed everything, and literally the very next morning, right?
Yeah, next morning.
The very next morning, my brother got on a plane and flew and met you where? What city?
Laredo, Mexico.
He flew right there.
I went out there and
See, I don't remember all of these details because it was such a stressful time. I wish I could remember all the details, but I literally was at work trying to sit in a conference all day long, and then in between on my breaks, trying to communicate with. I mean, that's why I had to tell my boss like what's going on. Like, look, like if I get a phone call, don't think that I don't care. But I may get up right in the middle of the conference and go take this phone call outside. Like, I don't really have a choice. So my boss was super understanding. But literally from Arizona, I was planning flights. I was trying to plan everything. So my brother landed. He met you in there.
yeah.
From there, we knew that ultimately we were going to the Rosarito area in the Baja California area. So
Right.
we didn't know where we were going to stay. We didn't have a place to live, but we were going to get them over there, right? So my brother landed. You guys met up. You got a hotel for the night.
We got a
first night,
hotel
right?
for the night, yeah. Yeah, I always feel like, with him, I feel like more.
Well, you guys are like little buddies. You're
yeah.
like partners in crime.
Well, it's not even. I was concerned and worried about.
Well, you were
everything.
scared because you've never been there.
Right.
And never
And
been
it
talked
was
bad
like-
stuff about
No,
how
it was.
crazy
It was.
things are.
No, it was really like the hotel that we stayed in was like a military's base right there, and man, it was really bad when we get in there, and it was scary. I mean,
Okay, so Tim meets up with you,
and then well, the next day we went.
and I
to-
bought plane tickets because did I buy plane tickets or did I have to get a rental car? I had to get a rental car because you guys had to drive somewhere, right?
No, we took the taxi to the airport.
The airport.
We got the tickets,
Uh-huh.
and we were supposed to fly from Laredo, Mexico to Mexico City, and from Mexico City to Tijuana, and then so we.
But it didn't work out that way.
work out that way.
Not at all.
No, the plane took off, and then later we just saw the planes coming back, and they're coming back again. They landed again. I tell my brother-in-law, why we coming back? You know.
So the plane took off and it landed again. And what happened?
There was
So basically, how long were you in the air for?
probably like a 10
10 minutes?
minutes. 10 minutes.
So you were flying quite a bit
Yeah.
before it turned around.
Right. And then
So you flew for 10 minutes and then it turned around?
turn around. Yes.
Oh wow. Okay.
Yeah. And it was like a lot of trucks and like not even, I don't know if it was military. I don't even know what this guy was, but they pulled one by one. They told him to get out of the plane. And so we
So
went.
they suspected somebody was on the plane of what?
I don't know.
Was it
think
drugs?
About
Was
drug
it-
or tell? I don't know. I didn't even like everything. I tell my brother-in-law because he was only
And they
one
searched
that
the
was
plane,
white.
right?
Yeah,
They were searching the people
searching every single stuff. And
getting off the plane.
Getting off the plane, and so went back over there. We just tell them like, hey, when can we fly back later? And they said no fly for the day. That's it. You guys, no, you guys are not gonna go today, and then it's gonna be maybe tomorrow, another day, but not right now. So
And you already had a second flight booked,
right,
right?
and
From Mexico City,
from Mexico City
to Tijuana.
To Tijuana, right?
So did you guys end up making that flight? You did, right?
No,
We missed the Mexico City to Tijuana
Mexico
flight.
City. So we went to.
So
No, we rent a car. We rent the car.
wait, but then okay, so this is what happened. So yeah, he missed the flight completely. There was no way that they were driving to Mexico City, is what the problem was, right?
Right.
And now I remember. My mind was so shot from that. So basically, I ended up having to rent a car now and you guys drove from Laredo.
Laredo, Mexico.
You stayed one more night there, right?
Yeah, we drove from Laredo, Mexico to
What
Monterrey.
airport?
Monterrey.
So you drove to Monterrey Airport. So then we ended up rebooking another flight from Monterrey
To Mexico
to
City.
No, to Tijuana, right?
No, we went to Mexico
you
City.
still went to Mexico City?
Still went to Mexico City.
And then from Mexico City to Tijuana.
Right.
So you guys ended up taking that flight
Yes.
instead.
Correct.
And it was a big cluster.
I know.
It was crazy, right?
It was a crazy experience. Like.
And I don't know how many phone calls I took back and forth. And here I am, like from Arizona, trying to book all of this stuff on my phone or my iPad. I don't even remember what I had at that point in time with me. I'm trying to book all of this stuff and pay for it. Because as much as my brother's doing me a favor, I don't expect it to pay for anything. So I'm basically trying to book all of this stuff and pay for it from Arizona. And we're just going back and forth trying to figure out plans. So ultimately, long story short, you guys land in Tijuana,
Yes.
right? And we knew that, I mean, all I can say that I knew is kind of what I did of research on the internet, but it's really hard. Like there's not really much information out there of like the area. So, and I mean, granted, this was what, 6 years ago. So it was before there was like a lot of YouTube videos and any of that stuff, but I just randomly picked Rosarito. I figured it was close enough to the border that I could make that commute back and forth every day of that 30-minute, 45-minute drive, depending on whether or not I take the toll road. I didn't want to be exactly in Tijuana, so Rosarito was. So you guys landed in Tijuana and you rented another car, right?
Yeah, we rented another car. We ended up in Rosarito.
And you drove south to Rosarito. So where did you guys first go to?
The first place we went to it was actually was
Pelican or Ocean?
Pel-
What was the name of the hotel?
Pelicano, I think is.
Yeah,
is a
I think
place
so
we,
too.
We hotel and they got a restaurant right there, so we stay overnight.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next day we kind of like looking for some places to rent, and we saw a sign that there was a restaurant right there, and that was when we met a friend.
Yeah, so Ernesto ended up meeting a friend that actually we're really good friends with. It's kind of crazy that they met in him just going to eat and looking along the beach. So my brother and him looked for a place specifically more on the beach than outside of the city, which was fine in the beginning. We stayed there for not quite a year, right? Just under a year.
Under a year.
I really liked the place that we lived. I didn't like the situation around it. I mean, if you could take that place and move it away from the other situations of like, so we were directly on the beach, and we'll show you guys a picture. Actually, I'll insert a picture here. Okay, so he's now settled in Rosarito. He's found this little place. My brother flies back home. It's not until a month later that I actually even get to come to visit. So this all happened in the beginning of May. I think right around the 13th or 14th of May was when he was sending me pictures of the place that we're gonna stay at. It was a 3-bedroom. How many baths, babe? 2?
Two baths.
2 baths? I don't even remember.
I think it was.
I think it's 3-bedroom, 2-bath house. It actually was really nice. We paid $750 a month. It was directly on the beach. It definitely is on the higher end of like rentals for a little apartment or a house, correct?
Yes.
Unless you're in a gated community. But it was a nice place. So at that point, I flew down. No, I didn't fly. I'm sorry. I drove down. I literally, I drove my parents' van first. So my parents were going to come down and stay with us for a little while. They're retired. And they did. They lived with us for what? Almost a year?
Almost a year, yeah.
But they're retired. So we drove their van down first. And I literally packed that van like there's no
Every
packing.
single spot. Every single little spot that we can fit everything.
I didn't use boxes.
We can fit in it because you're the one who did everything very much.
I didn't use boxes to pack anything. I literally packed every little cubby and every little hole. And I packed everything that I could. So if there was a spot underneath the seat in the van, in the back seat, I literally was like shoving tools underneath there and rolling up towels and shoving them. Like, it was an experiment in packing. I literally packed our whole house in 2 cars, right?
Yes.
I mean, granted, we did sell some stuff, but I packed our whole house in 2 cars and got it across the border. It was kind of crazy how much stuff I did pack, and it's how you do it. I also had a surfboard that was given as a reward for one of the events, so I put the surfboard right in the middle. It kind of looked like we were going on vacation. And when I crossed the border, they didn't really say anything. I mean, we had some suitcases in the back that had clothes and stuff like that, but I had everything packed underneath the seats and inside the doors, and any cubby that little like came open, I packed like deodorant, shampoos, anything extra, towels,
Yes.
clothes. Like I didn't, there were no such thing as boxes in the car. It literally was just rolled up stuff that was shoved in every single corner. I literally took the hatch that opened up underneath that had tires, and months later we found towels inside there and washcloths because I had packed everything in every single inch that I could of that car. And I made it, like I said, more like we were going on vacation. The first drive down, it was me and again my wonderful brother, his wife, and my niece and nephew. And they made the first trip with me. And they kind of took it as a vacation, and they came and stayed with us for like a week, right?
A week, yeah.
Kids enjoyed the beach. We got to spend time together. It was really great. And then after that time, my brother, my sister-in-law, all of us headed back to the airport, and I flew back to Ohio. And you were back by yourself again, right?
Right.
And not too long after that, my dad flew down.
And he stayed with
And he came to stay with you, right?
Yes.
He flew to San Diego, I believe, right? And
San
crossed.
Diego, yeah,
He didn't
yeah.
fly to Tijuana. He flew to San Diego, and Ernesto met him at the border.
Yeah, I went over there.
You had the van at that time, so
Yes.
you drove up and picked him up. So, so yeah, at that point in time, my dad came down. He was retired again, and my dad and my husband are super close as well.
Yes.
He's your dad, right? I mean,
Yes.
basically. And they just stayed together. My husband kept my dad company, my dad kept my husband company, and it was kind of nice that you weren't by yourself.
Right, right.
So, at that point in time, it got a little bit difficult. I mean, we were maintaining 2 households.
Yeah, it was.
And the struggle for money was, you know, we had just paid all this money for all the immigration stuff, which, I mean, I don't regret it, but I do regret it, right? I mean, we spent all this money and we didn't get anything out of it. We were fighting basically a case that was never going to get approved, correct?
Yes.
And it's sad because the lawyers don't really tell you
The
that
lawyer,
they're not going to get approved.
they didn't even tell me anything. He didn't even know that.
The lawyer didn't even know he was deported. That's
Yes.
how bad it was. But anyhow, so yeah, we were maintaining 2 houses. We owned a house. I was staying with my parents at that point in time and renting the house out just because it was so much going on. We owned a business at that point in time.
Right.
And then I was maintaining all the expenses down here as well.
Yes.
And it definitely was a challenge. I mean, not that cost of living here is super high, but I mean, I'm maintaining a business, maintaining a house, and and then we have renters that weren't paying on and off.
Right.
So, you know, I'm trying to pay a mortgage, trying to pay a rent there, trying to maintain our business. It was a rough time.
Yeah.
It was a rough time.
It was rough.
And we did that through May, June, July, and I believe August is when I came down, if I'm correct. It was the end of August.
Yes.
So, I mean, we kind of just at that point in time, when I flew back, we knew in June that for sure I was moving down. I needed to put in my notice at work, and get my transfer completed. And then by the end of August, the beginning of September, I had made another trip down, packing up the rest of our belongings and getting rid of everything. We actually had sold our business. We sold our share of the business because it wasn't solely ours.
Right.
To one of the other owners, right?
Right.
Which made you very sad.
Absolutely. Everything we worked.
You worked super hard for it.
Yeah. Everything.
And then we also had another auction, and we sold his prized possession, which was your what? Your car.
My car. Yeah, but I mean, it is what it is. I mean,
And then we sold everything else that we weren't moving, right?
Yeah.
And we just took basically what we could fit. You know, any recommendation that I could give to people, you know, take the things that are more sentimental to you, the things that you feel like you can't replace. A towel's replaceable, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then over here, the other thing is electronics and tools. You will find some of the stuff at the market, right? But
Yeah.
not everything's the same quality. You know, are you going to find a good KitchenAid mixer here in Baja? Probably not.
Probably not.
Yeah. There's mixers here, but they're not going to be the same quality. So, I mean, pick and choose what you want to take with you. We definitely took a lot of tools with us. We definitely took a lot of our kitchens,
yeah.
stuff with us.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find out later on, and maybe we'll do some videos, but my husband is a chef, right? I mean, that's what you do.
You're right.
So the kitchen equipment, his knives, that was important, correct?
Yes.
The kitchen stuff that he wanted was important. So we tried to limit what we got rid of that. But yeah, we packed everything else up in the beginning of September. We were settled in Mexico completely.
Yeah.
And that was middle of May to September. We made all our arrangements. We got rid of everything. We didn't sell our house at that point in time. We were still trying to rent it out. it didn't work out. I mean,
Yeah.
it just was too hard. People didn't pay the rent. What do you do as a long-term or a long-distance landlord? Like, I can't just go there and fix something. The door's broken. Who goes? I mean, I did give my brother, at that point in time, he was still in Ohio. I gave my brother a key to go and fix stuff, but then I feel like I'm imposing on him to go fix it. So eventually, we just sold it.
Yes.
We didn't really have a choice. Yeah, it just was easier. So, yeah, so we were settled in. We sold our house, we sold the business, we sold his car, and we had the necessities here, right?
Yeah.
But I mean, more importantly, I mean, in my eyes, more importantly, we were together.
Right. I agree. But definitely it's a challenge, you know. I mean, hopefully this video will help us another a lot of more people just to be patient and be like.
Yeah, just to understand that you're not, like, if you're going through this, you're not the only one.
Yeah.
Right?
No, I was so scared. But I mean, we already been here like 6 years, and the
Right.
time is flying. I mean, so
We keep ourselves busy. I mean, I'm constantly working, so I mean that's 5 days out of the week that I'm back and forth commuting. Those days are a challenge, but then we have our 2 days off together. So today's day one of 2 days off in a row for me. So
absolutely.
so anyhow, hopefully this just shows you that, you know, that everything's not negative. There are going to be some challenges, right?
Yes.
But it's not all that bad. You know, the commute is a challenge, but we're together.
That's the more important thing. That no matter what happened, I mean, we ended up being here in Mexico, and it's already like
It's already 6 years
6
past.
years,
And I can't believe it's already been 6 years already.
I know.
But hopefully this helps somebody. Just understand that, again, like I said before, you're not the only one in this position. There are others. Please, if you have questions or you're going through something, feel free. Oh, there's a fly. Sorry. Feel free to put any questions. We do have our email address that I have as well, which is ROUR. Actually, I'll try to list it down in the links below. It's our border life after deportation, and I know it's long. I'm sorry. At yahoo.com, I believe. I'll look it up and see. I don't remember if I did Yahoo or Gmail, but we do have that. You can shoot us an email. I personally don't mind reaching out to you and answering any questions that you may have, if it's something that's more private. Otherwise, please, you know, down below in the comments, feel free to ask your questions. We'll answer anything. Either I'll answer it, my husband will answer it. If you want to ask in Spanish because you're more comfortable in Spanish,
We can.
I speak a little bit of Spanish. I try.
No, you speak good Spanish, right?
And obviously my husband speaks Spanish as well. So we'll answer any of those questions that you guys have. Yeah, make sure you like and subscribe as well, and enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.